Are you stuck in a rut between your work and life balance? After a full day of staring at your screen for 10 hours, it's almost like you get disoriented once closing your laptop screen and coming back to the real world. I think the majority of what I end up doing after work is just processing and coping with my tiredness. And it's so easy to literally feel like you just physically and mentally can't do anything else. So you just end up watching a familiar comfort show to help the time go by. But then you end up disassociating and being lost in your own thoughts, and it's like you're relaxing, but are you really? Working from home is honestly such a luxury, and I'm so grateful for it. But what I've also realized is that it's really hard boundary-wise to start and stop at reasonable hours in the day, just because there's always work to be done. I was listening to a podcast recently, or it might have been a TikTok, I can't remember now, where someone was giving awesome advice in terms of time management. She mentioned that instead of making a to-do list miles long for the day and then feeling discouraged or like you're falling behind for not meeting them all, put down only 3 or 4 really important high priority tasks. She mentioned to schedule in only 6 hours of work, for example, instead of 8. That way, you have those free 2 hours to extinguish urgent tasks or emails or meetings that come up out of the blue. And you're not feeling anxious, stressed, or overwhelmed. There's also a few changes I've started to add in my morning routine to feel more sane and healthy. So I'm hoping to share that with you in an upcoming morning routine video in case you're struggling. But what do you end up doing after the clock strikes 5 p.m.? Honestly, like I mentioned, for me, I'm still working until probably like after 6. But when I finally close the screen for good, I'll probably sit on TikTok for a bit, just as a stress reliever, you know. It takes me a while to really muster up the courage to do anything really after work other than, be like a blob in a blanket or a lazy potato roll, if you will. Lately, I've been trying to walk more or get out of the house, even for decaf coffee if I didn't have time to brew some at home or drive to Starbucks that morning. It's something simple that I know I'll always feel better after doing. And even when I don't feel like going out and being a human, I'll force myself to, and it's always so worth it. I also randomly got like a really cool discount for a food delivery, so I just decided to order my ultimate favorite sushi rolls for me and my brother. So I really was a lazy potato roll that day, like literally. My family is always cooking something really cool. These are just some raisin muffins over here. They were really good actually. They also decided to make some yummy homemade pizza another day that week. So it was literally the best. Like it was so good, super cheesy. And then later on, we also made homemade garlic sauce to go with amazing French fries and some tomato appetizers. Honestly, it was literally the best. So after stuffing myself with the best food, I'll try to make space for a walk, just so I don't feel like a decaying sardine in the house for like my entire life, Some days I'll feel like I'm Snow White, observing all the cultures of the neighborhood birds, being privy to all their song and dance dramas, and literally just walking through a lively jungle full of beavers, swans, frogs, dragonflies, and all the birds. It's basically my free daily admission to the zoo, but it's the swans and Canadian geese that are usually the main characters. It's their world, and I'm just living in it. The swans here were so confident that they were walking up to me trying to kick me out of their land, so I just got scared and scurried away. One time I almost bumped into a Canadian goose whose honk almost lifted me off the planet since I had earphones on, and it was just such a scary, traumatic experience. Yep, here's their fearless leader over here taunting me in a war of attrition, and I just didn't want to risk it all. I'll usually spice up my walk with a cool podcast, some music, or a book. I love reading and walking at the same time because I feel like it's the best 2-in-1. I obviously look up ever so often to see where I'm going, but I think it's such a great use of your time to get your exercise in with your reading. I've heard in a talk earlier how much even a 30-minute walk a few times a week can really help you with your mental health and overall stress immensely. It's amazing how much our physical health can affect our mental health and even emotions. So even if you don't have time, it's so important to even just get outside for a little bit to help ease your stress and anxiety. And even I'd say to just feel a little bit more like a human being. To be able to observe the skies, the trees, the clouds, all of the things that I feel like sometimes we forget to notice. Just look up once in a while and you'll see how magical the mundane is. The fluffiness of the clouds, the comfort of nature's idiosyncrasies, people's emotions and conversations, just create that feeling inside of you and let it jumpstart everything you feel like you're missing out on. We won't be stuck forever. The pandemic will come to an end sometime, and we'll all be stronger for it. But I just wanted to let you know, in case no one told you today, that you're doing an amazing job, and know that you're doing the best that you can, and that's enough. Then I'll change into my pretty and fancy shoes and make my way to my ultimate favorite pastime hobby that I've picked up from quarantine. Driving around, sunset chasing, and creating your own adventure with yourself. It's the peace and quiet of reflection, but also the blaring music with the windows down and wind in your hair that signals the ultimate summer freedom for me. So I just arrived to basically my daily routine at this point is to have like a romantic waltz down the grocery store aisle. I don't know, I just love it so much. It's so nice to just get out of the house after like being on your screen for the entire day, like on like a bajillion different screens. And it just, I don't know, like I feel like I know all the different prices of all the grocery like products, like all the different cheeses and like the tomatoes, and it's like really relaxing for me. And what else is there to do in a pandemic? Like this is the third lockdown, so the only thing that makes me feel sane and human is to kind of just get out of the house. And you know, some days I'll need like some pasta sauce like today, other days I'll need some lettuce. I just like find something to need, so I can always just like buy like, I don't know, like some kale. I bought some kale last week. I haven't even opened the package from the fridge yet, but it's just something to do. The only thing is I don't actually always find something to buy. Like 75% of the time is just me walking back and forth and then not finding anything and then just walking out. It's basically just my trail. You know, like people like to hike outside. This is like my grocery trail. It's just where I like to spend my time. It's basically my second home now at this point. So if anyone asks what I like to do for fun, this is it. mention, but by the end of like my grocery date with myself, I get to catch the sunset, which is so nice. I'm such a sunrise sunset person, and it makes me so happy to see that just at the end of my like night, at the end of like a really busy and tiring work day. So something else that I've been doing with a few friends since January is having a prayer day on Tuesday nights. We FaceTime, talk about our weeks, our struggles, and it's so encouraging and so needed in a time when it's so hard to feel connected to people. And then we ask each other for prayer requests, and through the months, we've seen how much God is guiding us in our requests and our lives. It's a miracle being able to watch God at work and answering the prayers we asked for in January. It's also a miracle being able to watch God at work in the lives of others, from a front row seat view, you know? If you have any prayer requests or are struggling with anything at the moment, please leave them down below in the comments, and I'd love to pray over them. And I'll also ask if other people are reading those prayers to also pray over them. And we can have our own community prayers right over here in the comments. After getting my pasta sauce or, grocery store item, I'll sit in the car for a little while longer, just because of course that's top tier self-care. And then I'll head home to take a bath or something and end the night there. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you didn't have a chance yet, I made an earlier part of this day in my previous video about the day in the life of working 9 to 5 from home. If you're interested in that, check it out. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon.